everyone, this is Lizzie, and today I have this cute Groundhog Day card to share with you. So I used one of the critters from the Party Animal stamp set. I used this bear and did some creative masking to make it look more like a groundhog. And then I also used some accessories from the Snow Cool stamp set. One of the great things about lawnfawn stamps is that they work very nicely with each other, so it's easy to mix and match stamp sets. So I'm just going to start inking up my bear or my groundhog and the accessories, and you can see that I masked off the muzzle of the bear to make it look more like a groundhog. And then I used the Memento Tuxedo Black marker to color in the nose and mouth portion of that critter. And then because I'm stamping with my Misty tool, everything is in the same place, so I can make sure that I get a really nice impression where I didn't get that initially. So now that everything is done and finished stamping, I'm going to go ahead and draw in the rest of the mouth for the gopher, as well as some little tiny teeth, just to make it look like a groundhog. Groundhog, not a gopher. And now I'm going to be doing some Copic coloring. So I listed the colors at the top of the screen in case you're interested, and I will be back once the coloring is finished. Now that everything's colored, I'm going to go ahead and use the coordinating dies and die cut everything out. Now in order to set my scene, I'm going to be using this new Watercolor Wishes petite paper pack, and then I chose several colors of green and blue to make a sky for my little scene. I'll also be creating the ground with some kraft cardstock and one of the curved stitch dies, and then I'll be using some new Cilantro Cardstock, which is this nice bright green cardstock, and I'll be using one of the new Grassy border dies that matches the curve of the stitch die, and then I'll die cut that out, and that will serve as the background for my scene. So you can see I had initially planned on having this gopher kind of jump out of a tree stump, but I ended up deciding on a little bit different card design at the very end, but for now this is what I was planning on doing. So because I don't want to waste any of that beautiful pattern paper, I am going to make sure I trim off the extra that won't be shown, that will be covered up with the pieces in front of it. So I'm just using my pencil to make some tick marks so I know where to use my paper trimmer to trim that out. And then I will use my Fiskars paper trimmer and just cut along that line so that I have exactly the amount of cardstock that I need, or pattern paper that I need, so that I'm not wasting any of it. Now to stamp my sentiment, I'm going to be using one of these happy words from the new Happy 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 stamp set. It's a fabulous sentiment stamp set. You're really going to love it. And then I'm going to stamp Groundhog Day with Milo's ABCs. So I went ahead and mounted those letters on an acrylic block, and then I'm going to be using some soot ink, which is the same color ink that I used for Happy, and stamp that right in the center. And my sentiment is complete. So I decided at the end to sort of have the groundhog look like it was coming out from the ground. So I actually have one of the dies from the new Hatchlings stamp set, or new Hatchlings die set, and it's meant to be used on an egg, but I thought it worked perfectly here to look like he was jumping out of the ground or popping out of the ground. And then I'm going to use some antique linen distress ink just to sort of give that sentiment and ground piece a little bit extra texture, a little bit more dimension. So I'm just using my foam blending tool, going around that very lightly and highlighting the edges. And then I'll also highlight where that little die cut is. Okay, so now I can finally start assembling my card. So I'm just using some liquid glue and adhering all of those sky pieces. And then I'll use some liquid glue to adhere the grass to the ground. And then I'm going to pop that up on some foam tape. Adhere that down. And then I will put the little groundhog into the ground. And then just figure out exactly how high I'd like him to pop up. And then once I have a good placement, I can go ahead and adhere him down, and then adhere the top hat and bow tie. So to finish off the card, I'm going to be using these 3 little flowers from Mom and Me. I had that stamp set out since I was originally planning on using the tree stump as part of the card design. And I'm going to be stamping in some Memento Luxe ink, which is a nice pretty pigment ink, so it shows up on the kraft cardstock, and just stamp those flowers around the sentiment. So here is the finished card. Happy Groundhog Day. I hope sunshine is coming your way. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!